Welcome back to the channel, guys. So I've been dailying this Tesla Model 3. This is the first gen for about a week. I rented this car from Hertz, and I'm in New Mexico, which just beautiful scenery. Let me just get that out of the way first. It's absolutely gorgeous out here. You can see the clouds up there. Anyways, back to the car. So I've been driving this for about a week. And I wanted to sort of give my impressions as a first time sort of Tesla driver, my first experience in a Tesla or a fully electric car. And there are a couple things that I really liked about it, and a couple of things that, you know, I don't think this is really, up to par with some of the standards that, buyers in this kind of 40, 50, $55,000 price range have come to expect. So, do a quick little walk around. So this car does have the upgraded wheels. I think these wheels are really nice. These are the 19-inch wheels. And I think they're not, obviously they reduce the range a little bit. So this particular car, it's the rear wheel drive, single motor, car, so it has a range of about 260-ish miles. Obviously that depends on how you're driving it, so I've actually done some highway driving on this. Here in New Mexico, speeds are on the highway are pretty speed limits are pretty high. It's about 75, so everybody's doing about 80, 85 just cruising. And I definitely noticed that the range doesn't really hold up to that 260, especially at higher speeds. So local, when you're doing 30, 40, 50 miles an hour up to, I think it's pretty spot on. But as soon as if you're talking about highway range, it's definitely less than what they advertise, I think, so far, from my experience. So I guess we'll start with the back of the car. So one thing is, it has a nice sized trunk in here. So you've got a suitcase in there, and obviously it's power, and it sort of comes standard, which is really nice. So the thing with Tesla that I've seen is just the charging port right there, which is locked right up. One of the things that I've seen is that they do offer pretty good options as sort of standard. So heated steering wheel, heated seats, leather, obviously. This wood trim, which is all standard. Overall it's a pretty nice package. And then obviously a lot of the like the higher tech options, like the auto cruise control and things like that, those are quite a bit more. I think it's about, right now they're charging about $12,000 for the fully automated driving features, where you can summon the car from a parking lot, etc. So this is basically the car. It's pretty Spartan in here, except for this giant touchscreen that you have. But one good thing about this is it is super responsive. I was a little apprehensive about it at first. I guess one thing I don't really like is that your gauge cluster is not in front of you. Your speed, what your lights are doing, if you turn your indicator on, right or left, everything sort of shows up right over here, which is sort of let me get that off. Which is sort of, you have to look, you have to move your eyes to the right a little bit to sort of focus on the screen. Even the, if I put it into gear over here, the speedometer is, right here as well. Which, I think is, I'm not, this car really needs either a central gauge cluster or possibly a heads-up display. I think probably heads-up display would be a much better thing for this car to have. But with that being said, not having a central gauge cluster, and the way that the the windscreen is sort of shaped, you have really good visibility. So if you can see, I'm 5'10". This is basically my driving position right here. You can just, you look right down into the road. You can see all corners of the car, and overall visibility is actually really nice in here. A little bit of a A-pillar blind spot right over here, but it's not too bad. So first impressions, obviously, is being an electric car. Car is super, super smooth. It's super quiet at low speeds. It's just really smooth, and you can you're doing one pedal driving most of the time, because as soon as you hit the gas, the car just goes, and as soon as you let off the gas, the car sort of slows down and eventually will brake and come to a full stop. So that's definitely, the driving experience is basically where I've been most impressed with this car. The handling was way better than what I expected. It's a very sort of zippy car. It's a very like point and shoot type of, if you're taking corners and things like that, it's a very just, point in a direction, hit the gas, and it just takes off. It's definitely got a very much like a go-kart type of feeling while driving. So that's definitely a big plus. Obviously you can be, it's not hard to be smooth with it. That was one of the things that I was sort of concerned about is, how hard is it going to be to be smooth driving the car. And obviously there's several settings if you go into the menu to be able to change, how you want to have it drive. So you can put it into chill, which, it's sort of like going into like an eco mode in a standard car where the acceleration and everything is, much lower. Steering wheel, you can do comfort, standard, and sport. Sport makes the steering wheel heavier. Standard is just your normal, and comfort makes it quite light. You can set it up to, how do you want it to stop? Do you want it to creep? Things like that. Just tons of settings in this giant screen in the middle. I think this is about 15-inch screen. You have tons of settings to basically change, anything that you want in the car, which is super neat. But it's sort of, I would have liked to have some physical buttons, and you really don't, literally to change any of the settings, you have to go into the screen. So if you want to, move the steering wheel up and down or in and out, if you want to, change the side mirrors, everything is, first you have to go into the screen by hitting this car icon, and then, you can change anything that you want in the car. So charging, locks, lights, let's go to controls. So if you want to, you can change your wiper settings, although the wiper settings you also have on the stock right here, which on the left side, which they've gotten rid of in the newer updated version of this car. See, like anything, if you want to change the mirrors, you're gonna have to first go into the screen, and then you can go into this these scroll wheels and change things around. Pretty much with anything, the lights, just everything is in this menu. And although I will say one thing is, it's very, very easy to sort of navigate through the screen once you get the hang of it. I think it took me a little bit of, maybe a day, a couple hours really, just to get comfortable with everything. And over the course of the week, I've, just become accustomed to the car. So it's been great in that sense. The other great thing is that you can pretty much control the car, the settings with the Tesla app on iPhone or Android. So you can look up charging stations. You can use the navigation system. You can basically connect. Your app is always connected to your car. So if for example, last night I had to look for a charging station, and I just went on my app. looked up a charging station, and then sent that information to the car. And when it came to the car, the GPS was already set up and running. Yeah. So let's go over some of the other likes and dislikes. So definitely the likes. The car has a really nice ride. Low speed ride is excellent. I think it's very quiet, and it's very smooth. So that's one part of it. Driving it is super easy. You can literally just get into it, and within a couple minutes, you're very comfortable doing, everything. So I think that the car is very well calibrated in that sense. Some of the things that I dislike in the driving department is obviously the likes where the steering feel is great for an electric car. The dartiness, the zippiness of the drivetrain, it's just that point and shoot type of acceleration that you get is really great. Low speed, noise isolation is great. Now, one of the negatives is that at higher speeds, there's a lot of wind noise, and then there's a lot of road noise. The NVMH is quite high at, above, let's say, 50 miles an hour. So if you're doing 50, 60, 70 highway travel, if you're on the highway, there's a lot of wind noise, there's a lot of road noise, and that's something that sort of surprised me. I thought it was going to be a lot quieter on the highway than it was. So, if you sort of look at something like a BMW 3 Series or a Mercedes C-Class, about the same size as this car, Audi A4, even some of the smaller Genesis cars, things like that, those are definitely much more refined. I don't think this is quite up to that caliber of a, let's say, a 3 Series in terms of NVMH and probably material quality overall as well. Obviously this wood is really nice. There's some soft touch, Alcantara type of feeling material over here. There's leather. Plastics are quite nice, but it's definitely not up to par with something like a 3 Series or a C-Class Mercedes or anything like that. But on the other hand, this car it feels futuristic. Even though some of the other brands have come up with electric cars, I think Tesla definitely does have an upper hand right now. Everything just feels really cool in here, if I could say that. Everything's just very neat. Okay, so one of the negatives for me was definitely the road noise. In my day-to-day commute, I commute 60, 70 miles a day, and a lot of that is highway travel. So this would probably piss me off basically if I spend $50,000 and you have so much road noise. Now, granted, in the newer, the refreshed Model 3, they've added some more sound insulation in the car, and supposedly it's a little bit slipperier, and the way the design is so that there's less wind noise and less road noise. So that's something I would definitely look forward to in the newer one. But yeah, overall it's just a really nice, it's a nice daily driver actually. And I was actually a little bit surprised. I didn't think I was going to like it as much. So obviously there's no door handles. There's just a button to open the door. Let's get back out. I actually ended up liking this car more than I thought I would. And, if I were to buy it, I'd probably look for something in the used car space, because they aren't, as expensive. They don't really hold their value too well. But I guess the issue for me that keeps coming up is that the road noise it's a little too high. Even compared to something like a Honda Accord or something like that, it's probably about the same on a highway commute. And Tesla's sort of marketing this as near luxury or entry level luxury, and I don't think it's quite there material wise. and definitely, you know, NVMH wise, it doesn't feel like a premium enough machine. You know, but then on the other side, you do have a very, very cool car. It has a lot of tech. It just, you know, and Tesla keeps sending out updates. I mean, in the week that I've had it, it's been updated twice, which is pretty cool. You know, it's just, it schedules the updates by itself. And, you know, you wake up in the morning and overnight your car's been updated. And, you know, you just get in and drive. So that's one thing. I guess the other thing, you know, with the range, it wasn't too much of an issue. About 250 miles, 260 miles is what it shows, but you know, you probably average out about 220, 230 miles to a full charge. But the, you know, Tesla superchargers, if you're using those are pretty quick, and within about, you know, 25 minutes, 30 minutes, you're gonna get, you know, pretty much, you know, top up almost to 100%. So I don't think that's so much of an issue. Yeah, overall I like this car. The only problem I have with it, again, which sort of surprised me, is, you know, the wind noise. You hear a lot of the wind noise, you know, right around this area of the car, you know, right by your ear when you're driving it. And that's, I don't know if that has to do with the way that the panel gaps are. I mean, this particular generation does have the laminated front glass, which should make a difference. I think in the newer one they've gone laminated glass all around, so that should definitely help with NVMH wind noise. But yeah, I keep coming back to the road noise in this thing. When I first got it, I drove it for the first day or two. I was just totally, you know, in love with it. I just thought everything it did was so neat. And I literally started looking for, you know, used Teslas and see how much they were. But then the more I've sort of lived with it for the past couple of days, the only thing that's really bothered me about this car is the road noise, the wind noise at higher speeds. And, you know, if you live in a city, you don't do too much highway, you know, travel. If you're usually staying local, then I think this is still an excellent car. I think it's good value for what you're getting. Me personally, I'd probably get the dual motor, just to have a little bit quicker acceleration, the all-wheel drive, because I live on the East Coast. We do get, you know, some bad weather, and you get, you know, about another 100-mile range out of the dual motor, which is nice. But yeah, overall, it's a good car, but I don't know if I can fully recommend it for everybody. But one thing is for sure, it does feel like the future when you're driving it. You know, I'm a big sort of car guy. You know, I love manual transmissions and you know, just a nice engine. I like to be able to, you know, just, I love cars, but and I didn't think I would actually, you know, like electric cars, but the Model 3 definitely does have, it's still very entertaining to drive. I don't think you're gonna lose out too much on that driver engagement. I think somehow they've sort of maintained that with this car, which is, you know, that's a pretty big deal actually. You know, I didn't think, you don't really think that an electric car is going to be fun to drive, but the way this thing handles, the way it accelerates, brakes, it does have that fun to drive factor, even though, you know, you don't have a ICE engine, or you know, multi-speed transmission or anything like that. Anyways, guys, I think I've done a lot of talking. This video is almost 20 minutes long. I'm probably not going to edit it at all. Just going to post it like this. But yeah, these were my initial impressions of living with a Tesla for a week, driving about 500-600 miles over that period of time. Please like, please comment, please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to grow a following. You know, do comment down below. I'll try to get back to each and every one of you. Let's try to have a conversation about this car, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.